My boss said, "I'm leaving my wife. We could finally be together like you've always wanted." I'm 25, he's 52, I never wanted this. I replied, "I'm recording this conversation." Then I went straight to HR. When his wife, the company's CEO, called me in, I, 25 female, am currently sitting in a conference room that costs more per hour than my entire college tuition, staring at a glass of sparkling water I'm too terrified to drink. Let me back up. I worked. Status is currently pending as a junior project coordinator for a mid-sized logistics firm. It's not glamorous. It's spreadsheets, Gantt charts, and listening to middle-aged men use sports metaphors to explain shipping delays. My boss, Richard, 52 male, is the VP of operations. Richard is a lot. He's the guy who buys a Porsche he can't drive stick in. He wears cologne that enters the room 5 minutes before he does. He dyes his hair a color that does not exist in nature, something approaching shoe polish black. For the last 2 years, I thought I was just doing a good job. I anticipated his needs. I had his reports ready before he asked. I fixed his formatting disasters in PowerPoint. I ordered his lunch, Cobb salad dressing on the side, because that's my job. Apparently, in Richard's delusional brain, this wasn't competence. It was foreplay. Yesterday was Tuesday. Richard called me into his office at 5:15 p.m. The office was empty. Most people clear out by 5. He was sitting on the edge of his desk. Red flag number 1. He gestured for me to sit. "Sierra," he said, using his serious voice. "I've been doing a lot of thinking." "About the Q3 projections?" I asked, opening my iPad. "I have the updated figures." "No," he waved a hand dismissively. "About us." I froze. "Us?" He smiled. It was meant to be charming. It looked like a lizard sunning itself. "I know how hard it's been for you, keeping it professional, watching me go home to her every night, but I want you to know, I'm doing it. I'm leaving Eleanor." Eleanor is the CEO, not just the CEO by title. She owns the company. She inherited it from her father and turned it into a beast. She is terrifying. She walks through the halls and the temperature drops 10 degrees. Richard is only VP because he married her 20 years ago. "Richard," I said, my voice shaking but loud, "I have no idea what you're talking about." "You don't have to pretend anymore," he whispered, leaning in. "I saw how you looked at me during the budget meeting. I know you ordered the Cobb salad because you care about my cholesterol. We can finally be together, like you've always wanted. I'm 52, you're 25. We're a power couple waiting to happen." The delusion was so dense I could practically chew it. He honestly thought my basic administrative competence was a cry for help. I didn't cry. I didn't run. I pulled my phone out of my pocket. I had hit voice memo the second he said "about us" because I listened to too many true crime podcasts. "Richard," I said clearly, holding the phone up, "I am recording this conversation. I have never expressed romantic interest in you. I do not want you to leave your wife for me. I want you to sign the Q3 reports. If you continue this line of conversation, I will leave." His face dropped. You're recording? That's illegal." "Actually, we're in a one-party consent state," I corrected him. "Thank you, Google. And this is a workplace harassment issue." "Harassment?" he scoffed, standing up and buttoning his jacket. "It's not harassment if it's mutual, Sierra. Don't play hard to get. It's unbecoming." "I'm resigning from being your assistant effective immediately," I said. "I'll report to HR in the morning." I walked out. He shouted after me, "You're making a mistake. I'm offering you the world." I went home. I didn't sleep. This morning, I walked into HR. Our HR director is a woman named Janice who is terrified of her own shadow and definitely terrified of Richard. I played the recording. Janice turned pale. Oh my. Well, Sierra, Richard is going through a tough time. Maybe he misinterpreted your friendliness." "I'm not friendly," I said. "I'm efficient. There is a difference." "We can open a file," Janice mumbled, shuffling papers. "But since he's the VP and, well, Mr. Eleanor, we have to move carefully. Maybe we can transfer you to the warehouse division." "The warehouse is in New Jersey. I live in Manhattan." "No," I said. "I want a formal inquiry." Janice looked like she was going to be sick. I'll have to run this up the chain." I went back to my desk to pack my things. I wasn't going to New Jersey. 20 minutes later, my desk phone rang. Sierra? A voice like crushed ice. This is Eleanor. Come to my office, now. I thought, this is it. I'm getting fired. She's going to destroy me to protect her husband. I walked into the C-suite. The assistant waved me in, looking pitying. Eleanor was sitting behind a desk made of glass and steel. She didn't look up from her monitor. Sit, she commanded. I sat. She spun her chair around. She looks great for 50, in a scary, I drink the blood of my enemies kind of way. Janice tells me you're accusing my husband of sexual harassment, she said flatly. I'm not accusing him, I said, pulling out my phone. I'm reporting him. I have the audio. She held out a manicured hand. Play it. I played it. The silence in the room while Richard's voice droned on about power couples and cholesterol was deafening. When it finished, Eleanor didn't scream. She didn't cry. She stared at a spot on the wall for a solid 10 seconds. Then she looked at me. He thinks you ordered the salad because you love him? She asked. Yes, ma'am. And did you? I ordered the salad because it's the only thing on the menu under $25 that he doesn't complain about, and I just wanted him to eat so he'd stop talking, I said. A tiny, almost imperceptible smirk touched her lips. He's an idiot, she said. She opened a drawer and pulled out a fresh notepad. You're not going to the warehouse, Sierra. You're staying right here. Because if Richard thinks he's leaving me, he's in for a rude awakening. I own the house. I own the cars. I own this building. She leaned forward. I need you to do something for me. You have access to his calendar and his expense reports, correct? Yes. I want everything, she said. Every lunch, every client gift, every flight. Go back 3 years. If he's delusional enough to proposition a 25-year-old employee in my building, he's sloppy enough to be stealing from me. Am I keeping my job? I asked. If you find me something I can use to void his prenup? She raised an eyebrow. You're getting a raise. So I'm back at my desk. Richard is currently in a meeting, golf. I am digging through 3 years of receipts. And guys, the math isn't mathing. Update 1. It has been 3 days since the Cobb salad declaration of love, and the vibe in the office is catastrophic. I am currently operating as a double agent for the CEO. It feels like I'm in a spy movie, if the spy movie took place entirely in Microsoft Excel. Richard came back from golf on Wednesday looking smug. He walked past my desk, winked, and dropped a Starbucks cup on my coaster. Caramel macchiato, he whispered. I know it's your favorite. I drink black coffee. I have never ordered a caramel macchiato in my life. This man doesn't know me. He knows a fantasy version of me that exists solely to stroke his ego. Thanks, Richard, I said, monotone. We need to talk later, he murmured. About the transition. I assumed transition meant him leaving Eleanor. I nodded and went back to destroying him paper trail style. Here is what I found in the expense reports. Richard has been expensing approximately $4,000 a month under client relations. The receipts are vague. Dinner at Le Bernardin. Gift for potential lead. Consulting fees. But I cross-referenced his calendar. On the dates of these dinners, he wasn't with clients. He was blocked out for strategy sessions. I dug deeper. I called the restaurant for a receipt reprint for a dinner 6 months ago. I pretended to be accounting doing an audit. The receipt listed 2 guests, a bottle of Dom Perignon, and the credit card used was the company Amex. But here is the kicker. There's a recurring charge for a florist. Every Friday. A massive bouquet sent to an address in the Upper East Side. It's not Eleanor's address. And it's certainly not mine. I Googled the address. It's a luxury apartment building. I gave the file to Eleanor yesterday afternoon. She flipped through the pages. Her face was stone. Who is she? Eleanor asked, pointing to the address. I don't know, I said, but the unit is leased to a Monica V. Eleanor let out a sharp, short laugh. Monica, his yoga instructor. Oh, I said. Cliché. He's not leaving me for you, Sierra, Eleanor said, closing the file. He's using you as the life raft because Monica probably dumped him or got too expensive. He needs a new admirer to validate his midlife crisis. That makes sense, I said. He told me I ordered his salad with love. He's pathetic, she said. Then she picked up her phone. Sarah, Get security up here and call aita. I want Richard's access cut. Now. She looked at me. Go back to your desk. Enjoy the show. I went back. 10 minutes later, Richard strolled in. He stopped at my desk. So, he beamed. I was thinking this weekend we could... His computer screen went black. That's weird, he muttered, tapping the keyboard. Then, 2 large men in blazers walked in. Our building security isn't the rent-a-cop type. They are serious guys. Mr. Sterling, one said, we need your badge. Excuse me? Richard laughed. Do you know who I am? I'm the VP. Not anymore, sir, the guard said. Ms. Vance, Eleanor's maiden name, she kept it professionally, has terminated your contract effective immediately for gross misconduct and embezzlement. Embezzlement? Richard screamed. He turned purple. That is a lie. I demand to see my wife. The CEO is unavailable, the guard said. Please hand over your phone and badge, or we will escort you out forcibly. Richard looked at me. He looked for an ally. Sierra, he yelled. Tell them we're in love. Tell them I'm leaving for us. The entire open plan office went silent. 40 heads turned toward me. I stood up. I smoothed my skirt. Richard, I said, loud enough for accounting to hear. I have literally no idea what you are talking about. Please stop making a scene. The betrayal on his face was delicious. It was the look of a man who realized the NPC in his video game just went rogue. You led me on, he sputtered, as the guards grabbed his elbows. You little snake! I bought you things. You bought me nothing, I said. But I think Monica enjoyed the flowers. His eyes bugged out. How do you... The guards dragged him out. He was kicking. He was screaming about his rights. He lost a loafer in the hallway. It was majestic. However, the I bought you things comment bothered me. I stayed late last night going through the client gifts again. I found it, 3 months ago. An invoice for a diamond tennis bracelet. $8,500. The expense report says, gift for S. Miller. Closing bonus. My last name is Miller. I never got a bracelet. I never got a closing bonus. He bought jewelry for someone else, probably Monica, and expensed it under my name to hide it from Eleanor. He used me as the shield for his affair. He framed me for receiving company assets I never touched. I just forwarded the screenshot to Eleanor with the subject line, I think I'm going to need a lawyer. She replied in 2 minutes. Don't worry, my lawyers are bigger. Update 2. Richard is not going quietly. In fact, he is going loudly, messily, and with the legal strategy of a toddler throwing spaghetti at a wall. It has been a week since the defenestration of the loafer. Richard has been served with divorce papers and a lawsuit for embezzlement. But because he is a narcissist, he isn't reflecting on his actions. He is blaming me. On Monday, I started getting LinkedIn notifications. Lots of them. Richard posted an article on LinkedIn. Title, The Dangers of Office Politics, How a Junior Employee Seduced Me and Destroyed a Company Legacy. He didn't name me, but he named the position. He claimed he was preyed upon by a young, ambitious climber who manipulated his kindness and accepted expensive gifts before blackmailing him to get a promotion. He spun the narrative that I was the mistress, and when he tried to break it off to save his marriage, I went to Eleanor with fake evidence. The comments were a mix of, "Stay strong, brother," from other divorced dads and confused emojis from industry professionals. Then, the emails started. He used his personal email to blast the entire company directory, which he must have saved before he got booted. Subject: The truth about Sierra Miller. To my former colleagues, I am writing to clear my name. Sierra Miller is a predator. She accepted a $8,500 diamond bracelet from me, see attached receipt, and promised to keep our relationship secret. When I refused to promote her to director, she framed me. He attached the receipt, the one I found, the one with my name on it that he forged on the expense report. My inbox exploded. People were staring at me. The whispers were loud. Did she really take the bracelet? I always thought she was too organized. I felt sick. It's one thing to know you're innocent. It's another to have a 52-year-old man weaponize his own fraud to ruin your reputation. I ran to Eleanor's office. He's destroying me, I said, shaking. He sent it to everyone. I'll never work in this industry again. Eleanor was reading the email. She looked bored. He's flailing, she said. He knows he's dead in the water regarding the embezzlement, so he's trying to discredit the witness. But the receipt, I said. It has my name on it. Sierra, Eleanor said, standing up. Do you have an aita $500 tennis bracelet? No, I wear an Apple Watch. Exactly. And do you know where the bracelet is? No. I do, Eleanor smiled. It was a shark smile. Because I hired a PI to follow Monica. She opened her phone and showed me a photo. It was a high-res shot of a woman in yoga pants walking a French bulldog. On her wrist was a very sparkly diamond tennis bracelet. We have the receipt time stamped, Eleanor said, and we have photos of him giving it to Monica at a cafe an hour after he bought it. He put your name on the expense report, but the inventory went to the yoga instructor. So, you can prove he's lying? I can prove he's defaming you, Eleanor said, and that puts him in a very interesting position. She hit a button on her desk phone. Get legal in here. We're adding a defamation count to the suit, and draft a cease and desist. Then, the entitlement escalated to physical stalking. Last night, I was leaving my apartment. I live in a walk-up. Richard was sitting on the stoop. He looked terrible. Roots showing, wrinkled shirt. He was holding a box. Sierra, he slurred. He was drunk. I stayed behind the glass security door. Go away, Richard. I brought you the stuff, he said, holding up the box. The stuff I bought you. If you just admit it, we can fix this. You didn't buy me anything, I yelled through the glass. You bought that stuff for Monica. He froze. Who told you about Monica? Everyone knows, Richard. You're not subtle. He slammed his hand against the glass. You ruined my life. I was the VP. I had a Porsche. Now I'm living in a motel because Eleanor froze the joint accounts. You ruined your own life, I said. I just ordered the salad. I'm going to sue you, he spat. I'm going to tell them you harassed me. I'm going to say you groomed me. You're young, you're pretty, nobody will believe you didn't want this. I have the recordings, Richard, I said. And Eleanor has the photos of Monica wearing the bracelet. He stopped banging. The color drained from his face. She knows about the bracelet? She knows everything. Go home, Richard. Oh, wait, you don't have one. I called the police. He ran before they got there, leaving the box behind. I opened the box with a stick, just in case. It was full of office supplies. Staplers, pens, a label maker. He stole the office supplies on his way out and tried to frame me with staplers? This man is unreal. Update 3. We just left the mediation room. I need a drink. A real one. So, Richard tried to sue for wrongful termination. His lawyer, a guy who looks like he advertises on bus benches, argued that Richard's lapse in judgment regarding the expense reports was common industry practice, and that firing him was a vindictive move by an estranged wife. They also tried to subpoena me as a witness to prove I invited the attention. Eleanor didn't even blink. She brought 3 binders. Binder 1, the financials. It wasn't just the bracelet. It was spa days. It was a trip to Cabo listed as logistics conference. It was a $5,000 charge for consulting services that traced back to a Shell LLC registered to Richard's brother. Total embezzlement, $240,000 over 4 years. Binder 2, the Monica files. Photos, so many photos. Richard and Monica. Richard giving Monica the bracelet. Richard paying Monica's rent using company funds. And the kicker, a text thread Eleanor recovered from his company phone, which he stupidly didn't wipe properly. Richard to Monica. Don't worry, babe, I expense the necklace under the new assistant's name. Eleanor never checks the small accounts. Binder 3, the Sierra files. This was my binder. It contained my recordings, my emails rejecting him, and the affidavit from HR, Janice finally grew a spine, confirming I reported him immediately. It also contained the cease and desist for the defamation regarding the LinkedIn post. Richard sat across the table. He looked smaller. The dye job was fading to a weird orange. His lawyer read the text message about expensing the necklace under my name. The lawyer closed his folder. He looked at Richard. You told me the assistant stole the jewelry, the lawyer said. She did, Richard lied, sweating. That text, that was a joke. Locker room talk. It's a text message about fraud, Richard, Eleanor said calmly. It's a felony. Eleanor slid a piece of paper across the table. "Here is the offer," she said. Richard drops the wrongful termination suit. Richard signs a confession regarding the embezzlement. Richard agrees to a repayment plan for the $240,000, which will come out of his share of the house sale. He gets nothing else. Richard issues a public retraction of his LinkedIn post and an apology to me, Sierra Miller. If he refuses, Eleanor hands the binders to the district attorney. "You wouldn't," Richard whispered. "I'm your husband." "You're my liability," Eleanor said. "Sign it, or I call the cops. And Richard, prison in New York isn't like the country club." Richard looked at his lawyer. The lawyer shrugged. "Sign it. They have you on 14 counts of fraud." He signed. His hand was shaking so bad he ripped the paper. Then, he looked at me. The entitlement flared up one last time. "I hope you're happy," he sneered. "You broke up a family over a salad." "I broke up a crime ring," I said. "And the salad was mediocre." Final update. It has been 2 months. The dust has settled. Richard. He is officially divorced. He walked away with zero alimony and about $40,000 in equity from the house sale after the embezzlement repayment was deducted. He lives in a studio apartment in Queens. I know this because he updated his LinkedIn after posting the mandatory apology. His new job title? Sales associate at a used car dealership in New Jersey. The irony of him selling cars he probably can't drive stick in is not lost on me. Monica dumped him the second the credit card stopped working. Apparently, their spiritual connection was heavily reliant on Amex points. Eleanor. She is terrifying and wonderful. She called me into her office last week. "You handled yourself well," she said. "Most people would have quit." "I have student loans," I said. "I can't afford to quit." "Good answer." She handed me a file. "I'm creating a new role. Director of Internal Compliance. You're good at finding discrepancies. And you're not afraid of powerful men. I need someone to audit the other departments. Does it come with a raise? 30%. I'll take it." Me. I moved out of the open plan bullpen. I have an office. It has a door. I bought myself a tennis bracelet. It's fake. Cubic zirconia cost me $50 on Amazon, but I wear it to meetings as a reminder. The reputation damage from Richard's email lingered for a week or two, but the public apology and Eleanor's terrifying memo to the staff threatening termination for gossip killed it. Now people just look at me with fear. I'm okay with fear. Fear means they won't ask me to order their lunch. I walked past the used car lot in NJ last weekend. I was visiting a friend. I swear I wasn't stalking. I saw Richard. He was wearing a polo shirt that was too tight, trying to sell a 2014 Honda Civic to a teenager. He looked tired. He looked old. He didn't see me. I drove past in my efficient, sensible Toyota, drinking a black coffee. Justice wasn't a big explosion. It wasn't him going to jail. Justice was him having to work for a living, just like the rest of us. And honestly, that's the worst punishment for a man like him.